On this episode of Cigars and Sea Stories, Mike, rolling solo on this one, is sitting down with Mike Desa. So it's going to be like Mike Desa. I pronounced that correctly, correct?
It's pretty close. It's Desa.
Desa.
But you're in the ballpark.
Whatever. Freaking officer corps. So we've got a fellow Marine on the show with us. He is a former officer, infantry type, went through IOC, all of that good trash. Now he runs AG DTours, which is pretty cool. It's AG DTours. You can find it online. AG DTours, right? .com.
That's it. Yep.
AG DTours offers investment research trips and consulting services for private and institutional investors seeking an agricultural-based investment in Latin America. Our customized trips and professional services are for clients searching for diverse agricultural investment opportunities in Latin America. Look at that. That's the mission statement. You'll find it on
perfect
agdtours.com. And welcome, Mike Desa.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, no problem, Mike. So, when were you, so much to talk about. This could be fantastic. Little one-on-one, little TBS, little weapons training battalion, little application trail. So, I was the guy standing at the end of it, wearing a campaign cover, holding a cup of coffee, waiting to snap in.
Yeah, no, that's right. As we suck wind up Cardiac Hill.
Good times. All right. So, let's start from the beginning. When did you join the Corps?
I got commissioned in December of 2007.
I love it. Okay, so you were there before, you were like there right after I re-enlisted.
When did you re-enlist?
I re-enlisted July 2007.
Okay, yep.
And then I was over in Quantico in April 2008.
Yeah, I mean, we would have...
Were we there together? Was I your coach?
Let me think, because I was commissioned in December of 07, and then I went to TBS in April of 08. I think I started sometime April or May of that year. I would have finished at the tail end of 08, and then I started IOC in, I remember just being cold.
That was a shitty winter.
I think it was February or maybe even January of 2009. That's right, because I checked into 19 in April or May of 2009. Yeah, so man, I bet we did cross paths at some point, although there was about 1,000 lieutenants at any one given point.
Yeah, I was probably a lowly coach at that time, wearing the pith cover. Right, with the helmet or what have you.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, in the summer, those things are money.
Really?
Oh, yeah. You get a fresh haircut. You've got a band inside of it, right? And the wind just kind of swoops up underneath of that thing if you catch it right. But they can sail off and go cartwheeling downrange also.
Probably not burning the crap out of your neck or your face with those things on.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing is, if you're a range coach, you're just used to having a sunburn on the back of your neck. That just inevitably happens. Or if you're a mortarman in 29 Palms.
I never envied those guys out at the range. It was bad enough for us kind of carting back and forth for 5 or 6 straight days. But to have you guys take class after class of lieutenants and teach them how to shoot, it was scary. It was scary enough running my first grenade range as a lieutenant. And I mean, these guys had already, they'd already been through boot camp. They'd already been through SOI, so they'd thrown a grenade or two in their lives. But I swear it's just the shakes sometimes when they get up there. And then you get the left-handed guy.
Oh yeah.
Who's got the grenade upside down.
Yep.
It's in the opposite hand. It wasn't very much fun.
Yep. I always gave those guys shit.
Oh my gosh.
I always told them, I was like, you're the lefty. You're lefty. Do you believe in the devil? You would have been burned at the stake, New England. You understand that? You're a witch. That's why you have to throw grenades upside down.
Yeah.
If you can master the two-hander, though, you know what I mean? For like bouncing around corners, like flashbang.
Yep.
67, suck it. Like, oh my God. Wham! Oh,
yep.
That's so good. I watched a gunny get fragged on a grenade range one time. Poor bastard.
Like actually fragged?
Yeah, so it was one of those. Did you ever go out to 29 Palms, do any of the lean training?
All the time.
Right, yeah. No, I know you did.
Yep.
So I think it's range 119, but it's on the
Okay.
main track on the way out to Wilson.
Yep,
And
yep.
you've got the lanes out there, frag house on the right,
Uh-huh.
and it's a 360 live fire.
Yeah,
And my
okay.
buddy G, he'll remain nameless just to save face. He steps into the house, and I mean, gave a good throw. He did what you're supposed to do, where you bounce it around the walls so that they can't
Right,
pick
low
it
and
up.
hard and fast.
Right, so he bounces it off two walls, and it sticks near the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Like right perfectly, thump, pow, and Gunny just eats it straight. I mean, he got fragged in the ass.
Oh, no.
It was like, ah! So,
Oh, man.
he's like, ah! He's screaming the dude. Yeah,
that
G
pipe
was
would
like,
stop
I'm
at that
sorry,
range.
Gunny. I did not mean for that to happen. He
Yep,
said
I
it so
wasn't intrigued.
straight-faced. Oh, it was good. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Grenades, young lieutenants around guns.
Yeah.
We tell you guys during the demonstration period, too. We're like, don't touch that rifle. Explain,
That's
demonstrate,
right.
imitate, practical application.
That's
We're
right.
doing this.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, did they still use the EDIP? Explain,
of
demonstrate,
course.
imitate, practice. Yeah, man, I learned the EDIP at the martial arts instructor course.
Yep.
That was the first time I had run across it. I'm like, man, that's kind of catchy. But to hear you say it again, I was like, well, I guess that sort of carried some weight and
Oh, hell
found
yeah.
a place in other programs as well.
That's how I train my kids.
No, it's not.
I swear to God. I'm like, no, man, you're doing it wrong. You know, like,
We talked about it first, and then I'll show you how to do it, and then you do it,
Let me
and
tell
then
you
you
right
practice
now.
it.
I put one hand on my hip and then a knife hand.
That's right. Yeah, and you put your coach hat back on.
Exactly. Let me tell you how to handle that hose. All right. Here's how you do it. I demonstrate how to do it. He imitates. Practical application. That's it.
Then go.
My kid's good with the hose. He helps me hose off the blood off the tarps when I killed Bambi.
Yeah.
Yep, I got him trained, man.
Ours is out there. He's a little too young to start skinning, but he's always hold this front quarter, hold these guts. Take a look at this. Like it turns into a science lesson half the time.
Yeah. Oh, that's so
That's the way to
good.
do it, man.
That's awesome. So you went through TBS. We were around there roughly about the same time.
Yep.
And then you wound up doing IOC.
Yep.
I don't think that a whole lot of listeners out there really appreciate how much of a kick in the dick IOC is. So I mean, how long is it? What are we talking about here for infantry officers course?
It's 3 months.
It's 3 months.
Yep.
Basically like SOI on steroids, kind of. It's
Yeah.
like, right? With
Yeah.
like leadership stuff and whatnot.
Yeah, in terms of duration, it has a much different focus
Mhm.
because it's more than just teaching basic infantry skills. You're reinforcing basic skills. You're concreting those through practical application. You're introducing intentional uncertainty in almost everything that you do, which is why I think there's a lot of secrecy around the course. And to your point earlier about a lot of maybe listeners not knowing a whole lot about it, it's intentional. It's not intentional just to be secretive for no reason. There's a methodology behind the madness such that the way that a lieutenant and a future infantry officer reacts in certain situations, the way that they deal with the unknown, the way that they deal with not knowing how long something is going to be or when it's going to end, speaks a lot about their character. It speaks a lot about their decision-making ability. And so any opportunity that we can inject to test and evaluate and take a look at how those things affect speaks a lot to us, and so that's one of the reasons I would say that there's that there's kind of this mystique, if you will, around it. And being an instructor, I was a student when the introductions of females to the infantry community wasn't an issue. I was an instructor at the course when it was an issue, and so to be a part of that dynamic as it went through the review process. I was at IOC as General Smith was responsible for setting up this training task force to evaluate and gather biometrics. I'm not sure if you kind of ever heard of that big training unit they put together that had a condition unit, it had a mixed unit, it had an all-male unit, and they tested all sorts of different things about that to provide a recommendation to the Secretary of Defense on whether or not, the Secretary of the Navy about whether or not the MOS should stay open or closed. And IOC was a big part of that in terms of looking at the female community and whether or not how their performance at that school. And so it was a really interesting time. It was a challenging time to be an instructor there, but really a lot of valuable lessons learned. In terms of the school itself, to kind of go back to your original question, so it's 12 weeks. They start with a basic skills reinforcement, and then they transition into different aspects of the infantry. There's patrolling, there's fires, there's platoon and company size units. And then once they get to sort of Quantico's culminating capacity in terms of what the base can support, that's when we head out to 29 Palms for 3 weeks. So every 3 months, there's a new class, every 3 to 4 months, because there's sometimes some lag time.
There's white space built in.
Right. Every 3 to 4 months or so, we'd spend 3 weeks in 29 Palms, running the students through every type of live fire imaginable scenario you can run. I mean, it's phenomenal.
See, I needed to ask these questions here because, one, I knew that you're an instructor. Two, I went through, you know how some infantry officers have the ability to go through kind of the gentleman course, the Scout Sniper package?
I don't think I'd ever. Oh, as intelligence officers.
As intel officers, some. Yeah. So if you're going to be a Scout Sniper platoon leader, and you're an 0302, or if you're an intel officer, yes, you can go through that package.
Yeah.
We mix and mingled like foreign weapons, coaches course, combat marksmanship trainers course, and trained each other as instructors across the board. Now, of course, enlisted guys can't go through infantry officers course, but we got to go through like a little day package.
Okay.
Excuse me. And I definitely plotted one grid and ran all the way over and plotted another grid and needed to go back. And there are aspects of that course, knowing what you're talking about, where it's like it definitely is a fine judge of character. And the reason why I wanted to pull that specific question out as far as the mystique around it as well is because, man, I've heard some bitching from some fellow enlisted guys where it's like, freaking LC, like, you guy's an asshole. Like, okay, I get it. I totally understand. I totally understand to an extent, but it's also like it is a test of the will in order to be an infantry officer in the Marine Corps.
Right.
So
and a lot of what and I just speak from what I would try to do right out of the school. Really, the only experience that you have not being a prior enlisted guy is what you saw, what you were exposed to, the type of training and how it was conducted. So you try to take that and apply it to your platoon because that's your experience base and that's what's most fresh to you. And sometimes that focus on uncertainty gets translated into the training aspects that new lieutenants put together, which I think may sort of kind of speak to your comment about, damn this lieutenant, like what the hell? Like,
right.
Why can't we know what's going on? And it's most of the time, I won't say most of the time, some of the time it's just unintentional. It's just sort of him carrying over some of his experiences and trying to apply them in a situation where it may not always fit.
Yeah.
But sometimes it is intentional.
Right. Well, and it's funny, too, because I've been on the other side of the equation and played your Op 4 when you came out to 29 Palms.
Yeah.
So, like, out near Hidalgo Mountain where all the new mount towns were?
Yep.
So, I was the guy who was throwing arty sims in the ditch. I know, we're not supposed to, but I don't really care. So
much fun.
There you go. Suck it. Enjoy the CS grenade.
We had to be real careful with those, especially in the...
you can't throw them in the town.
Right. You can't throw them in the town, and you can't throw them next to people.
Right.
Because it's like, it's an explosive. It's TNT, It's like
you mean arty sims, yeah.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
CS grenades.
Well, those two.
You can mess somebody's day up with a CS grenade. You thought it was a good idea to get your poncho liner out and the CSU. I'm going to CSU so hard. Oh, my God.
There's a flame on the back of that. So, again, throwing that in a pack is not necessarily the best idea. Because sometimes the pack can catch fire. So you can't like throw it down a lieutenant's pants or whatever. You just gotta be careful with those things.
Definitely gotta check the wind.
Fun. Oh man, they're so much fun to throw.
That's what people don't understand about being an instructor. Because it's like all of those little, oh man, I remember being that guy over there. That sucks. Like I'm gonna throw tear gas at your face. Like, when are they gonna let me use 40 Mike on these guys? This is bogus. Yeah.
The boundary there, or the hard part to walk, was doing it for a reason, not just doing it because someone did it to you, or because whatever, you just felt like it.
Right.
If there was you had to sort of get to that point where you could intentionally employ an RD sim where it was supposed to, and you could stack 3 or 4 or 5 CS grenades in a certain spot in order to elicit, or not elicit in some case, a certain reaction. And sometimes, actually a lot of the times, to the person getting CS'd, it just feels shitty and arbitrary. It's just like, there's no point to, like, why? But
because the enemy would do it to you.
Right. Some of the, a lot of the times there's a reason for it.
Or because you decided to pull out your poncho liner in the middle of the field after totally getting CS.
Or these are consequences for your actions. Right.
Right. Good times.
But I loved it. It was one of the more challenging, if not the most challenging times, but it was one of the most rewarding.
Mm-hmm. Now, where'd you do your fleet time? 1-9?
Yeah, it was with 1-9. I started in Lejeune, deployed with them on the 24th MEU in 2008. No, wait a minute. It was after that.
Oh,
yeah, it would have been 09 or 10. Down to Haiti right after the earthquake.
Yep.
So did some humanitarian assistance, disaster relief there. And then went east, crossed the Atlantic, spent some time off the coast of Africa, did some bilateral training with the French Foreign Legion, actually, and some of the French Army folks in Djibouti.
Those guys, depending on who you're rolling with, those guys can be really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
They actually have a permanent base there on Arda Beach, which is it's right on the coast in Djibouti. It's an awful place, but there's some fantastic training that we get to kind of walk through and run through with the French Foreign Legion guys. The French Army had a detachment out there that came and did some live fire stuff with us. Got to do some small unit leader tactics stuff with some Jordanians in Jordan, and then came home shortly thereafter. Was home for about a year, 18 months, and then deployed as a company XO, same battalion to Afghanistan.
Cool, right on.
So
we're in the Afghan nation.
Just east of Marja.
Okay, yeah.
So near Nawa.
Yep, I know where that is.
Yep.
I've never been there myself. I mean, same province. I was in Kajaki and Sangin.
It was a big area.
Yeah, there were a lot of shitheads to kill over there.
Yeah,
it was pretty crazy. Good times. Anyway, so you're an XO in the Afghan land.
I was an XO in the Afghan land. We took over a battle space that used to be managed by a battalion. So they were pulling forces back and aggregating larger units or larger forces at bigger bases. And so they were trying to shrink footprints at that point. So we had a 350 square kilometer battle space. We had $35 million worth of gear. It was almost 2,500 pieces of gear when you count trucks and weapons and optics, and that doesn't include the company set. That's just the gear that we fell in on. I'm trying to. It was probably,
I can picture CRM after CRM.
No, right? I mean,
EDLs
that's what a lot of my life was for 7 months, was figuring out what all this stuff even was, figuring out where it all was, and then trying to keep track of it. I think we had 12 or 14 positions. Some were that was just positions where we had Marines. You double that if you count all the Afghan National Army and Afghan Police Force patrol bases and checkpoints and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It was a beast. It was a big beast.
Oh, man. I do not envy XO. I've said those words countless times.
Yep.
Literally, I have said out loud, like, I do not envy XO. That's why I would always just be like, all right, give me your goddamn EDL right now. Like, I don't care. We're off patrol. Give me all your counts. I'm going to walk in with my manifest and tell XO we're up. Hurry up.
Let's satisfy this beast so that we'll have to deal with him at 1 o'clock in the morning as he's trying to figure out where this damn Thor is.
but never belligerent. I've never had an XO like, hey, assholes. Like, it's always like, hey, guys, I got to find this piece of gear. Like, right
It's
now.
really just, at that point, it's not even worth losing your temper over. Because you would just have an aneurysm.
And then the sergeants will do all. I mean, like, I'll punch a guy in the face at 1 a.m. I have no problem. I'll find that goddamn Thor.
And that's what I need you to do.
Right.
So I don't have to.
Right, exactly. There's 4 of me. I can go kill stuff.
One of my Marines, he was one of the better Marines I ever had. Super smart kid. He was our chief, one of our chief watch standers. And the longer the deployment went on, the better he got in the COC. He could anticipate actions and orders that we were going to give to different units even before we gave them. He could battle track like nobody's business. He was a corporal. He was a lance corporal at the time, and then he got promoted in Afghanistan. He's out now. He got his bachelor's degree finally. But as sort of a parting gift, when I left 1-9 and went up to TBS to teach, he gave me a little Zippo lighter, right? And it said Chaos 5 on it. Chaos was our company's call sign. Nice. And Chaos 5 was the call sign for the XO. And it said, the quote on it was, "Verify this serial number." Damn, was that it? Is that what my time as the XO boiled down to?
Oh, man.
Right.
More than you know.
Yeah.
Golly.
I still have it.
That's fantastic. So did you leave after Quantico?
Yeah, I taught at TBS as an actual TBS instructor for I think maybe a year. I was in the bullpen for 6 months, and then they pulled me to lead this new. They called it this Marines Awaiting Training Platoon. You may or may not have heard it when you were teaching there. So it was Marines that had finished TBS that were waiting to start IOC. Some of them were going through injuries. Some of them were in some other kind of holding pattern. Some of them, they just graduated at a time where there wasn't a class for, another 4 weeks or whatever the case may be. And so the CO at the time created this Marines Awaiting Training Platoon to develop a training plan and prepare these folks for IOC. So they pulled me out of the bullpen early to teach, to kind of run that platoon. I'm not working off of anything anybody had done before in the past. It was this brand new thing, so I'm trying to figure out how to do it and making mistakes. So I did that for about 6 months. And then the last year I was there, I taught at IOC. And then I went on terminal leave in June or July of 2014. And then kind of done with terminal leave in September of 2014. And since then, have just sort of been pursuing the entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like it was very entrepreneurial near the end there. And then did it go straight into AG DTours, or were there other businesses in the beginning?
There were no other businesses before it. When I got out in September, actually, let me back up just a moment. So while we were still in the service, 4 or 5 or 6 years ago, my family and I sort of felt like we were kind of being called to walk a different path, something that involved entrepreneurship outside of the service. And coincidentally or simultaneously at that point in our lives, we were also sort of searching for an alternative investment class for our family to invest in. We wanted something that was kind of other traditional than stocks or bonds. And as we started to look at what those criteria might be in terms of suitable investments for us, we wanted something that was a tangible asset outside the U.S., so sort of a way to geographically diversify, long-term storage of wealth, strong likelihood of appreciation over time, etc. And as we started to look at what asset classes may meet these criteria, agriculture for us came to the surface as one of those. And so we began researching agriculture worldwide, trying to find a geography that possessed the best possible value, upside potential, could be sustained for the long term with sufficient water and land resources. And agriculture in Latin America posed itself as the forefront of what those might be. And so preliminary research drove us to that region of the world, but we were really of the mindset that we wanted to kind of see it for ourselves, especially before investing. And so my wife and I both feel strongly that there's really no substitute for boots on the ground experience, and I'm sure you can relate to that from a military sense as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
When it comes to kind of investing overseas. And so in an effort to gain some of that firsthand experience, about ag in Latin America, as well as find an investment for our family, as well as build a network of contacts and business associates for AG DTours. My family and I executed a 6-month, 6-country investment research trip to Latin America. At the time, it was my wife, my 3 boys, who were 4, 2, and 6 months. And in February of 2015, we left, but with nothing more than really what was on our backs. And went to region. Started in Ecuador, spent about 2 months there, came south into Peru, south into Chile, into Argentina, Uruguay, and then started to come back up north again to Panama before coming back into Texas in August of that year. During that trip, I had the unique opportunity to put my boots on the ground in, evaluate, research, analyze over 100 different agricultural-based investment opportunities in all 6 countries. Everything from coffee in Ecuador, vineyards in Mendoza, to commodities and cattle in Uruguay and timber in Panama. And so I think this diverse array of experiences and exposure to different ag-based investments across a huge region, I think make me uniquely qualified to match the right asset to the right investor. And that's one of the 2 unique services that we're offering. One is customized investment research trips to Latin America, so similar to what we did, but not as long in scope. The idea is to showcase the potential. The second is consulting or advisory services for private, high net worth, or institutional investors looking to diversify into agriculture. So matching the right investor to the right investment, sourcing, due diligence, boots on the ground research, those kinds of things.
Nice. So did you write about this in Latin American Agriculture book?
I did. Yeah. So
the whole
it talks
experience? Sorry.
No, not the experience. The ebook talks about, it makes the case for the investment. So it talks about what we think are some of the more challenging aspects of traditional investments, the stock, the market, the equities market, the bond market, even to a certain extent, the U.S. agricultural market. So we talk about the challenges in those markets, and then the book talks about the upside potential, the benefits, agriculture as a whole, as an asset class in Latin America. And of the 6 countries that we toured, or that we had the opportunity to research, we picked 4 of the most promising ones and built investment research trips into those 4 countries to showcase some of the same opportunities that we saw. And the rest of the book lays out some of the tax benefits, some of the land value prices, some of the incentives and positive aspects of ag in those 4 different countries. Mm-hmm. And the latter part of the book has some tour sample summaries in it for the 4 countries that we offer services to. When we first started, the business model was around the tour itself. And we're not in the real estate business, so we're not selling the property. Mm-hmm. Again, the model is around the tour. The idea is to showcase, if someone wants to purchase, we can absolutely link them up with a contact or an associate in which to do that. So that was the original focus. And then as we started to do more research into this and talk to more folks and get deeper into the weeds, a consulting role or an advisory role to investors to source, to do due diligence on, to match, started to also gain some steam. And so we're sort of actively pursuing 2 different paths at the moment to see which one sort of generates the most momentum.
Nice. Oh, that's cool.
So
how'd you wind up when you were traveling around for those 6 months?
Yeah.
Did you already know those are the countries that you wanted to go to, or was it kind of, we're going to beat the bushes, and then that turned out to be the most lucrative routes for investors to potentially visit?
No, before we left, we knew the countries we wanted to go to. Mm-hmm. We had actually planned on going to Belize after Panama. It was at the end of the trip. Timing just didn't really work out, and so we ended up cutting Belize. But we knew where we wanted to start the flow of the trip. So Ecuador is in the northern part of the continent, and then we wanted to make our way south so that halfway through the trip, as we were starting to make our way home, we could come back up north again from Argentina to Uruguay to Panama. So we knew the countries. We had a general idea of where we wanted to stay in each country. Before we left, we had all of Ecuador planned out. So we knew we were going to spend X number of weeks in Cuenca or X number of weeks in Cotacachi or Tena. We had flights booked in. We were in Ecuador for 2 months. And then as we were about halfway through Ecuador, we would start to look into the next country. So 4 weeks was about our window of prep time before we went into the next country. And so again, we knew the countries. We had a general idea of the cities and the regions we wanted to explore. The duration, the exact types of things we were going to be looking at, we just had a rough idea based on the preliminary research. But as soon as we got there, we were blown away at how diverse it was, how plentiful the different opportunities were. And so we sort of had to do some on-the-fly adjustments. But some of it was kind of adapting as we progressed, and some of it was pre-planned based off preliminary research, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's one of those where one would assume that you're kind of doing like a MET-T TSL or something. You're doing some sort of like mission prep in order to figure out exactly where you wanted to go. Yeah, absolutely. So do you speak on this subject as well? Have you done any seminars or anything?
I that's one of the things I'm trying to get involved with. I've done some Rotary Club talks here in the local area, but nothing really outside of that. I've got the material. I've got the presentation. I'd love to sort of speak about the trip as well as the business model. We took about 50,000 pictures on that trip. And so, I mean, a lot of that is worth sharing. We learned a ton about travel. We learned a ton about travel with kids. We learned a ton about agriculture in the region. We learned a ton about how the culture operates, how some of the business aspects are structured, what are some tax incentives, how business is generally done. I mean, so it was really just a broad range of trips. But I would love to speak kind of further. And I know that you've done some speaking in terms of what you guys are doing. And I think I recently watched your TED Talk not too long ago.
Yeah.
Would love to sort of maybe hear kind of what that was like for you as we sort of look at doing maybe something like that or.
Yeah. Well, it's, a lot of folks have actually asked, and I'm glad to share it on the show because it's unique in the sense that when I was first going into it, I didn't really have a TED Talk in mind. I had an idea and a premise and what I wanted to talk on, but it really took the pressure of getting ready for the talk to put that together. But some of these other different, some of the things that occur also, let's say, for instance, with a TED Talk, like I can't rehash that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, that's one of the other things or pieces of advice. You really, it's not like lightning doesn't strike twice. It's just you probably shouldn't try to rehash that and almost like character kind of typecast yourself.
And it sounds rehearsed, right?
Right, exactly. Which of course it was. Don't get me wrong. And I put a lot of work into it, but yeah. So went into it without an idea for really what the overall talk was going to be, but I knew the premise of it and what I wanted to discuss. And
have you ever been teaching something before and at the end of it you just intuitively know, yeah, that was awesome, or man, that sucked? Have you ever had that feeling before when you're giving like some kind of instruction or you're teaching a class on something and you know at the end, man, I nailed it, or you're like, man, I really gooned that up? Have you ever had that feeling before?
Yes.
What did it feel like when you left that TED Talk? Was it one of those moments where you went, man, I so totally own that thing? Those where you went, I watched it. I thought you nailed it, but I want to hear like you thought about it.
Yeah, okay, so like I'll tell you what I really did not fully expect. I got a standing ovation.
Wow.
And I didn't. That was, like that doesn't happen when you're an instructor. So
kind of cut you off guard.
Yeah. So I mean, with that, you have a different type of reaffirmation of it because I know what you're talking about. Sometimes when you're done with a period of instruction, you're like, damn, dude, I totally messed that up. Or not, I totally messed that up. They got every essence of the period of instruction. It's just maybe it went out of my natural rhythm, and that wasn't like the class that I gave last week. And there were a couple of anecdotes that I could have thrown in. And after the TED Talk, we're even going into it. Like when I went into the first meeting, they were like, do not instruct, do not walk around. What? That's...
The walk around part would be hard for me. Yeah.
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 So, which is what you do, you know, when you're an instructor.
The room, right.
So, you needed to stay on the fuzzy red circle and speak pointedly, and you had to be within a certain timeline. Otherwise, it's not going to be posted, you know, in all the right places. So you're definitely cognizant of that. And more so, if you're looking for like that satisfied fist pump, nailed it moment, it is knowing that you spoke to every bullet point that coincided with every slide. Yeah,
because yours was, you talked a lot. You said a lot of things that weren't on the slides, which is hard to do. You know, there wasn't a lot of reference there. So I mean, if you get to a point you're talking, you go, well, where am I supposed to be? You can't look back at your slide because it's a picture, right? It's hard to reference that.
Yeah.
So I mean but to me, like that speaks to how well prepared the presentation it is. That speaks to how well the presenter knows the material. So yeah, man, I thought to have that kind of presentation where you can't look at it and say, I know I got all the things I wanted to talk about because I saw them on the slide. You can look at it at the end and go, I know I did that because, you know, it's a lot harder the way you did that presentation, but I think it makes for a better presentation.
Yeah, and the other thing that folks don't really pay attention to is you don't look at your monitors in a TED Talk, or at least you're not supposed to. That's one of the coaching aspects that they told us is stay out with your audience and providing that you know, either technology, entertainment, design, what have you, but provide that idea worth spreading without talking directly to your material. So we had a confidence monitor that was in front of us along with a timer, which can be good and it can be bad. Some people wanted it to count down, by the way, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Do you get to practice in those sense? Like, do they get to put you in that room and you get to sort of work your presentation with all the audio and with all the screens and the timers, like before you actually record it?
Yes.
Okay.
In short, yes. It depends on the space and the rehearsal, but I had 2 solid dress rehearsals before we actually took the stage.
That's awesome.
So, which, quick little side note, I was concealed carry the entire time.
Were you really?
Yep. Holstered my 9, totally legal.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, it was fantastic.
No one noticed, huh?
No, of course not. I'm
that's
professional.
Great.
Come
that
on now. Great. The guy who put on my microphone didn't even notice that I had a gun on the entire time.
Good for you. Did you make him go to the opposite side of where it was? Or
I totally did. You have no idea. Like I had it to where I draped off my left side and I put my right hand all the way around to the small of my back and held my jacket there so that he literally couldn't go for it. Like, too sick I am, darling.
Yeah.
I've done that high-risk personnel shit. So he puts on the boom mic, and it was kind of cool because the guy was there.
Did you feel like Britney Spears at that point?
I felt I felt like, oops, I did it again.
Yeah.
I had to. So the guy who mic'd me up, I mean, we were kind of joking around the night before and stuff like that because we had a dress rehearsal and there's that loud boom in the beginning.
Yeah.
The biggest confidence booster that I got prior to going out on stage was him going like, now my jacket's on, the boom mic's all set, everything else, I'm ready to rock. And he's like, I tweak the levels, you're good. I don't care if you blow the microphone off your face, just do it. Just whoa.
Awesome.
Which was cool because I was really worried about it. There was feedback when I did it the night prior. It was like, boom, wing. And so then he kind of messed with the levels. And I guess what he actually did, because the lady who was working my slides, so you work your own slides, but she's the one who makes sure that your deck is all there and everybody's on the master deck.
Okay.
He was in the booth, and when the boom came and he saw like the reaction that I was about to do it kind of a deal, he just like dropped the level, push the level back up, done.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nailed that.
Yeah.
So, which if you've ever been a part of some sort of big event or production or anything else, there are so many moving pieces, and I cannot thank the folks enough who do all of that stuff. Whether it was our presenter coaches, our presentation, she's literally this lady her name's Wendy. She's a saint. I slid my slides over to her, and I was just kind of like, so, what do you do for a living and stuff like that? And she's like,
just kind of had a conversation with her. Yeah.
Right. And she's like, I do presenter slides. I'm like, oh, you do this. This is your profession. Okay. Wow. All right, like this is legit. This is legit, people. Like, you know what I mean? I expected her to be like, I'm a school teacher and I do this on the side or something like that.
Yeah,
no,
that's what I do on the
like
the evenings.
You know, like Tony Robbins types pay me to look through their presentations. You're like, oh, okay. You're going to be looking through mine? That's cool. I took some of those pictures myself. Please don't kill me. Like, you know, you just don't want to be a boot. You know, you're just like, oh, damn it. You know, but it was great. They're all great people. Any of the suggestions were constructive criticism. You know, there was a couple of moments where it's like, it's kind of hair raising, I guess, to whatever extent, but you get through it. And each one of these TED Talks, by the way, are all different. They're, you know, it's based upon your committee and how they want to run it and how they want to select speakers and other things like that. And pretty much the thing that is the same from what I hear from people who have done multiple TED Talks is your time constraints. And typically, you know, ideas were spreading.
Did you see did you see traffic to your business at that point, or did you have a lot of follow-up from that TED Talk, or are you still getting follow-up from it? I mean, was it a big boost for what you're doing now?
So in short, not necessarily.
Okay.
And the only reason why I say it like that is because we've spoke about it a couple of times, and yes, I've shared it on Facebook.
Yeah.
I haven't leveraged it in the way that like Simon Sinek's leveraged it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's probably because there are other things that are in the works.
Right.
Shortly thereafter, I started working with Bunker Labs, and Bunker Labs has gotten me a lot of solid, you know, I'm in front of a room a lot. That's part of the gig.
Yeah.
So that definitely helps. And I'm moving the ball one step forward. I will have my speaking website up and a few of these other different things. You know, it's kind of a different aspect of it when we move into those arenas, you know?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what's been kind of unique. I've been around college campuses where people recognize me.
No way.
Which is kind of cool. So like,
that's awesome.
Right? So I don't really care very much about being famous. I would rather be like, you don't know who General Mattis is? Like, wait, do you live under a rock? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I would rather be somebody where it's like, yeah, we show your TED Talk in our class. And that's what they recognized me from. A professor stumbled across the TED Talk and showed it in class.
Wow. What was the class about?
It was either, I've seen it in leadership classes.
Okay.
There was a lady who said she was taking a resiliency seminar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Somebody else was talking about they saw it at their ROTC.
Okay.
Which we'll see what happens. My wife's due date, or my daughter's due date rather, is coming up here, and I might be speaking at North Carolina State University's ROTC program here pretty soon. So
congratulations.
You know, yeah. So that'll be
great.
one.
Yeah, that's great.
Spoke at the Luther Hodges Business Ethics Initiative, which was fantastic. So Rotary Club.
Yeah.
You know, so this is definitely something where we can cross pollinate, do some mastermind group.
Yeah, man. I think that'd be awesome, because I'm looking to educate and speak about, you know, travels.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'd love to pick your brain or kind of hear some thoughts you have on experiences, or maybe folks that you know, or whatever.
Nice. Yeah. No, that'll be good. We should probably get cracking on a 5-paragraph order immediately. So
yeah, okay. All right. Let me get out my Write in the Rain notebook.
Yes.
And a poncho liner and a red lens flashlight.
Oh my god.
Laugh, but I've done that.
Oh, I know. Hell yeah. Yeah, I've been right there with you.
A lot.
Yeah. Oh man, we used to have this thing in Sangin. We came down kind of like near the tail end of the deployment last couple of months, and I hopped off the truck and immediately recognized one of the squad leaders. He was my designated marksman instructor. Mm-hmm. Then I recognized the platoon commander. He was one of my shooters when I was at CMT, and he's like, "Sergeant Penny was up." And so it was like all the squad leaders, the LT, all same generation men, of course, different rank structure, of course.
Right.
But we would do our evening kind of mission briefing of what we were going to do tomorrow, and kind of, you know how it is. And we're all around the SIGAT tracker. We're in the COC, listening to the crypto beeps. And typically an SOG was on watch at that moment. So you've only got like sergeants and like LT and captains in there.
Yeah.
And we called it story time. And it was like all the debauchery that happens when you're on Libo. It was probably what I was thinking of when we came up with Cigars and Sea Stories.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, terrible things that shall not be named. Crazy H's that were made on Libo weekends that were just, getting drunk before humps. I have been shit-faced on a battalion hump. I mean, drunk.
I did not think that was possible until we saw these guys in the French Foreign Legion. It was like 120 degrees in Africa, right in Djibouti. And these guys go out on like a 2 or 3 day exercise, and they take a baguette or like a couple baguettes and beer. That's what's in their pack for food and water.
Oh, man.
As they go out in Africa, and it's just crazy hot, and that's what these guys are doing. So again, I didn't think that was possible to be able to move like that and drink, but it sounds like both you and the French Foreign Legion have proved me wrong in that regard.
Yeah. No, you're getting an IV and a catheter afterwards, but it's totally, you know the right doc, and he can hook it up. You know this.
Yep.
You know this. And then it's like Call of Duty for at least 24 hours. Because Doc told me to.
That's right.
He told me to. He put an IV in my arm.
Jeez.
I'm SIQ, sir.
Yep. Don't bother me. Don't bother me.
Don't worry my EDL's up.
That's right. Tell the XO.
So if folks want to go on AG DTours, where do they find you?
www.agdtours.com. You can also find us on LinkedIn under my name, Michael Desa, or you can search it AG DTours on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
And the ebook it's up on Amazon,
yeah,
right?
The ebook's up on Amazon. We're actually supposed to have an article come out in Task and Purpose, hopefully sometime in the next couple of weeks. And the article's about top 5 fears facing first-time veteran entrepreneurs and ways to kind of combat that. And I use the business as the model in which to talk about some of those fears and how I overcame some of them. It talks a little bit about some preparation that transitioning veterans can do as they maybe seek an entrepreneurship path. So would hopefully love to get that article out here soon, and then maybe share it so that folks, veterans or not, looking to move into entrepreneurship, can maybe learn a few things from the mistakes that I made.
Very
This
cool.
is the way that you can read a little bit more about what we're doing.
That's very cool. Michael Desa, doing good things, man. Hell yes. God bless America and no one else. Anyway.
That's right.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate you coming on Cigars and Sea Stories. I truthfully
It was a
do.
pleasure, Michael. It really was.
Yes, right on. And thank you so much to all of our listeners. If you have not already done so, go ahead, click subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. You can find us now on iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, and anywhere else you love sharing Cigars and Sea Stories. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Hero Media Group, who we are proud to be a part of. It's all veteran-led podcasts in a variety of different genres and categories. Check them out. Also, veteranslist.us. If you are a small business owner and you want to get a featured membership on there, you can get 50% off, 50% off by entering in discount code Cigars and Sea. So go ahead, go on veteranslist.us, get yourself a featured membership, get looked at, get paid, and that's how that works. So anyway, folks, check out AG DTours right now. It's agdtours.com. Check out Mike's story, check out Mike's ebook, download it time now, and get him for your next speaking engagement because he's got a really awesome story. I haven't seen a slide deck yet, but I'm sure that it's 50,000 pictures.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty badass.
Hell yes. Awesome, brother. Well, Semper Fi to you.
Semper Fi, Mike. Take care.
Yes, and on that note, we cue the music.
Setting sun.